Seems like Don't Worry Darling isn't the only movie which is raising eyebrows in the film industry anymore. Andrew Dominik's latest production is giving the movie quite a competition. Although his movie is quite praised for its cinematography, many have raised questions about its legitimacy. Were the instances reported in Blonde actually true? Or did the producers just see her as a damsel in distress and decided to make a movie out of it? Stay tuned to find out. First up, how do we know what's fact and what's fictional in the movie? When Blonde made its world premiere at the Venice Film Festival, it caused a stir and left home viewers curious about how they could watch it. However, since its publication, the fictionalized biography has drawn criticism from some who doubt its authenticity and want to know more about how much of Blonde is based on fact. The movie made headlines as it blurred the lines between reality and fiction of the movie star, who many claim was much more than the she was made out to be. So the question remains, is Blonde based on a story? Well, it's a yes and a no. Most of the movie is based on the information published in the book by Joyce Carol Oates. Both the book and the movie paint Monroe as a scared Red Riding Hood alone in the forest, unaware of the wolves life will throw at her. Sounds pretty poetic, right? Well, newsflash, it's not. Although many aspects of her life, like her marriages, were correctly portrayed in the movie, a lot more were overly dramatized and made it clear that this movie was far from the traditional biopics we are used to watching. Here is a breakdown of what actually happened with Monroe in real life and what's purely a figment of the producer's imagination. So, did Marilyn's mom really try to kill her? As sad as it is, this is actually true. In the movie, little Norma Jean lives with her mother Gladys, portrayed by Julianne Nicholson, who constantly lashes out at her daughter. She would often blame her daughter's presence as the reason why her husband left her in the first place. Throughout the movie, Gladys's behavior becomes more and more erratic. She even drives Norma Jean toward a wildfire while only wearing a nightgown, until she finally tries to drown her kid in the bathtub. It is shown that Norma Jean managed to escape her mother's downward spiral and knock on the neighbor's door asking for help, at which point Gladys is taken to a state hospital for the mentally sick. Just as little Norma found some peace in her life, she was admitted to an orphanage. In real life, Gladys Baker, Monroe's mother, had a history of mental illness. After experiencing a mental breakdown in January 1934 and receiving a paranoid schizophrenia diagnosis, Baker spent the remainder of her life moving in and out of hospitals. By the way, you guys do know that schizophrenia ran in Gladys's family, right? Okay, so maybe Gladys wasn't the best mother in the world, but it is stated that on her good days, she did treat Norma Jean like a loving and caring mother would. It is even shown in the movie that she made her daughter a cake to celebrate her birthday. It's not much, but it is something. Don't go anywhere, because we're just getting started. Next, we'll talk about the issues Monroe faced in her adult life. Stay with us. Next up, was Monroe ever able to track her father down? Gladys shows a picture of a nice guy to young Norma Jean and informs her that he is her father, but forbids her to discuss this because he was married and people would find out she was a bastard child. She told Marilyn that they worked together in the studio Marilyn ended up working in later in the movie. Hence, Marilyn fixated on this issue and grew up thinking that having a father who would love her would fix all her problems. It is also believed that this is the reason why she chose to marry older men and, well, gave them a not-so-subtle name, Daddy. Yikes. According to a book written by Charles Casillo, Marilyn's father was a man named Charles Stanley, and Marilyn was able to track him down. But when she did and told him who she was, he didn't quite give her the reaction she dreamed of as a child. It is stated that he clearly told her he already has a family and wants nothing to do with her. Sigh. It's enough to make a grown man cry. And now, what went wrong in her marriage to the baseball superstar? In the movie, Joe DiMaggio, a recently retired Yankee and beloved national baseball figure, pursues Marilyn. He assures her that he will keep her safe and provide for her with a normal family and life. It is stated that DiMaggio came from a traditional Italian household and wanted Marilyn to adapt to the domestic Italian housewife lifestyle. But we think he failed to notice one thing. For starters, years, Marilyn barely knew how to light a stove. As the movie continues, Joe becomes more and more threatened by his wife's lifestyle and the movies she decided to do. One example of this is that after she shot the iconic subway grate scene in her movie The 7-Year Itch, DiMaggio beat her uncontrollably in a fit of rage. Not the first time we've seen men be insecure over their wife's career choices. There were many more instances of such beatings, some of which were even reported by DiMaggio's son. In one of them, he draws a gruesome picture in which he was startled awake by the screaming match that was happening between his father and Marilyn. And then suddenly he saw Marilyn running down the stairs and out of their house while his father was chasing her. However, he was finally able to catch up to her and dragged her back into the house by her hair. Eventually, Marilyn filed for divorce 9 months into the marriage. Up next, did Marilyn have abortions and miscarriages? In the movie, it is shown that Marilyn first becomes pregnant at the age of 21 while she was in a throuple with Charlie Chaplin Jr. and Edward G. Robinson, but ends up having an abortion when she first learns that her mother's mental condition might be genetic. Told you guys it runs in the family. In later years, when Marilyn marries Arthur Miller, she becomes pregnant again and is overjoyed with the fact of having a baby. However, she faces an abortion as she trips and falls on a getaway with her husband. This is in fact true, as Marilyn faced 2 abortions and an ectopic pregnancy while she was married to the writer, which were a few of the reasons why Marilyn became increasingly addicted to drugs and alcohol in her final years. As far as the abortions are considered, there is little to no evidence that Marilyn ever aborted a child as shown in the movie in a rather explicit manner. And finally, what really happened between Marilyn and JFK? Let's talk about the infamous scene in Blonde where Marilyn was escorted by the Secret Services to meet JFK in a hotel room. In the scene, while JFK lies naked on the bed and talking on the phone, he almost immediately directs Monroe on how he wants her to greet him. And after that is over, he has his security guards take her back to her room. You know, all wham bam, but not even a thank you, ma'am. As enraged as this scene made the viewers, there are mixed reviews on whether or not Marilyn and JFK have a sexual past. Many people disregarded this scene with the view that there's no way that Monroe, a world-famous celebrity, would let JFK treat her no less sex doll. From almost the moment she rose to fame, there have been rumors and speculations regarding Monroe's relationship with President Kennedy. In 1962, at a Madison Square Garden gala benefit, she charmed him with a breathy version of Happy Birthday while donning the infamous skin-tight outfit. You know, the one Kim K promises she didn't ruin. Ha! Jerry Blaine, a former Secret Service agent, revealed that both Monroe and Kennedy were definitely acquainted as they socialized at a party in Santa Monica in 1961, but were never seen alone. However, Tony Opadesano, a close friend of the two, revealed that their relationship was definitely sexual. He also stated that Marilyn felt way more deeply for JFK than he did for her, but at the same time, she did not want to ruin his marriage, so she never tried to take it to the next level. In 1961, when it became increasingly difficult for both Monroe and Kennedy to keep their shenanigans up, he broke up with her, which left her quite heartbroken. Seeing this, it is reported that Bobby Kennedy took his chance and tried to woo Monroe. The duo allegedly started dating, although it wasn't as serious or long-lived as her relationship with Johnny. When the tensions between Russia and America seemingly started to increase, both the Kennedy brothers ghosted the actress, which left her in a frenzy. DiMaggio also opened up about this issue and said that the Kennedys put his ex-wife in a more unstable mental state than she was previously in. According to many sources, it was the final nail in the coffin that plunged the actress towards her suicide. That's it from us, folks. Hope you liked today's video. And don't forget to tell us what you think about Blonde's depiction on the late actress's life. We look forward to reading your comments. Have a nice day.